Hello everyone, my name is Aaliyah Hunsucker, and this is my presentation for FW 373 Vertebrate Natural History at NC State. The species that I chose is the southern leopard frog, scientific name Lithobates sphenocephalus. As far as phylogenetic classification, Lithobates sphenocephalus fits into the phylum Chordata, subphylum Vertebrata, the same as humans. As far as class goes, they're in Amphibia, which houses all amphibians, including salamanders, newts, frogs, and toads. They're in the order Anura, which houses frogs and toads, and family Ranidae, also known as true frogs. Their genus is Lithobates, and their species is L. sphenocephalus. Some of the Ranidae family characteristics are strong back legs for jumping long distances. You see this especially in species such as the American bullfrog. They can be distinguished from Hylidae because Hylidae has very thin legs, not made for jumping long distances, and in Ranidae you won't see that same claw-shaped middle toe. The genus and specific epithet do have a meaning. The genus is from Greek, litho meaning stone, and bates meaning one that hunts or walks. The specific epithet means wedge-headed, and the taxonomic status of this species has been debated widely. There are also two accepted subspecies, Sphenocephala, the Florida leopard frog, and Utricularia, the southern leopard frog. As far as identification goes, these guys can be anywhere from 5 centimeters to 9 centimeters with a maximum of 13 centimeters. And I believe that this is only in more southern regions where they can grow year-round, such as Florida. They have a brown-green underbelly and legs, and variable bright green to green-brown dorsal patches. They also have rounded, darker brown spots, which are similar to the pickerel frog, Lithobates palustris, but the pickerel frog has more square spots, and they're arranged in rows, and then underneath, on their legs, you'll see a bright orange to yellowish coloration on the underside. Now, you'll also notice these two dorsal ridges on the sides of the face, which can distinguish the species from other frogs in Ranidae. As far as auditory calls, you hear a chuckling croak. Let me see if I can get this to play. This is deeper than some other species, which have a high-pitched chuckling croak sound. As far as distribution and habitat, they cover most of the southeastern United States with a couple northern reaching regions. They inhabit freshwater woodlands and mostly shallow water bodies, which are ephemeral ponds and other water sources, and sometimes they end up in brackish water in our more coastal areas. There's also a couple introduced areas. While this species is native, they've been transplanted places during the pet trade. And recently, I think around 2016, there were two females found in the San Joaquin River near Fresno, California. And way back in the 1920s and 30s, there were a couple shipments of southern leopard frogs sent in around the Prado flood control basin in California as well, so there are a couple established populations around there. As far as their life history goes, it's similar to most other amphibians. Most frogs, unlike toads, lay eggs in egg masses, and then they have 3 life stages that go from an egg, a tadpole, juvenile, both of those are fully aquatic, and then adults are terrestrial and aquatic. This species in particular is pretty dependent on water for all life stages, including reproduction. They also overwinter in the water. As far as activity goes, they're active during day and night and don't really have much of a specific pattern. They're a species of least concern by the IUCN, but since they have limited distribution, they're always at risk. Their diet is exclusively carnivorous, and they feed on insects, crayfish, and other aquatic invertebrates. Another interesting fact about the reproduction of the species is that their egg masses contain around 1,500 eggs and hatch anywhere from 4 days to 2 weeks after laying. In addition, they breed in winter and spring and sometimes fall, normally around large rainfalls. And in cool weather, they'll nest communally, but individually when it gets warmer. And then once those eggs are laid and hatch, the tadpoles take 50 to 75 days to fully mature. Now, there are some concerns for this species, but one thing I wanted to note is that because they breed all year round and breed communally and eat mostly insects and don't really have a specific time of day that they're limited to, they are more resistant and more of a generalist than some anurans, which have a more specific niche. But they are super, super dependent on shallow pools of water for breeding, and because of climate change, these ephemeral water sources are less and less available, and these ranges could be shrinking. They also overwinter in those larger water bodies that don't freeze. Shallow pools freeze over winter, so areas that have less extreme temperatures, so more of like a temperate climate, are great for these guys. That's why you see them so much in Florida. But again, with climate change and rapidly increasing and decreasing temperatures, these areas are more at risk. That, and we also have egg mass predation in larger bodies of water. Fish and turtles and other animals love to eat their eggs. So while they are at risk, they're not at risk as much as some of our other frog friends.